Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ultimate Dirt TV. A special presentation tonight on this Sunday evening, the Mother's Day Shootout, presented by World of Thunder. As World of Thunder drivers go up against the National Oval Racing Association guys, we are here in the Midgets of the Speedcars, and we are live from the Shootout right here on Ultimate Dirt TV. Good evening, Brett Wheeler in the booth with you for tonight's call. 2 minutes left in this practice session at the moment, and of course the track's starting to get a little bit slick right now for these drivers, and we're going to have qualifying heat races and then of course a 100-lap main event to see who is going to come out on top in this Mother's Day Shootout. Again, a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Not too far away from this qualifying session. Well, we are going to have another special guest in the booth here tonight, of course. We'll let you know who that is here in just a moment, of course. He is just... Again, another special guest in the booth. Of course, all those likes, follows, guys. Thank you very much. Coming off a charity race on Friday evening in the Super Late Model, where Hayden Cardwell dominated the dirt track at Charlotte. So right now, some of the drivers on the racetrack. Aiden Perdue in the number 37 car sits quick time with a 10.170. A 10.170. So we are just awaiting the arrival of our special guest here on Ultimate Dirt TV. The first time we're going to be working with this gentleman, and hopefully for a few more times as well. Again, all those likes coming through, thank you very much for the support, as the checkered flag has just been thrown on this practice session. We will now move into qualifying, the qualifying part of the program. We'll see who is going to be one of the first drivers to get out onto the racetrack. Of course, we're going to see some of the fly-by-night Midget Series guys as well on the racetrack. So we're joined by Nick Robbins in the booth as well. Nick, welcome in.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Brett? Good to be here tonight.
Yeah, doing good. Just getting qualifying underway right now. I'm watching Trey Schmidt in the number 12 car go second quick at the moment. 10, well, in fact, make that 11. A lot of these drivers in the 11-second bracket. Aiden Perdue, 11.312. Just let us know when you're in the 7. We're good to go.
I will be there in just a second. No shock at all to see Trey, though, up towards the top of the standings.
Yeah, looking at 11.405 for Trey Smith. Aiden Perdue second quick. Jason Conover third. Cody Batten in fourth. And Carl Surratt will round out your top 5. We're watching the 86 car of Colby Baker getting his first lap in here at the Chili Bowl for qualifying. We'll see what kind of lap time Colby's going to do at 12.139. Robert Kerstead as well. We're going to be one of these drivers to keep an eye on in the number 24 machine. So Robert Kerstead from the Tony Stewart Racing Esports camp. Waiting for lap time for Robert Kerstetter. It was going to be a 12.136. Lap number 2 will be 11.664. So that's going to put him inside of the top 10. Going to sit position number 8. And there is qualifying done and dusted, wasting little time in getting this field. And I believe Jacob Fields just went quick time, 11.176. Three heat races on the program for tonight. Heat race number 1, we'll take a look at your Black Diamond Motorsports starting grid. On pole for the first heat race of the night, the man that goes quick time this evening in the 007 car, it's going to be Jacob Fields. On his outside in car number 55, Jason Conover will start position number 2. Out of position 3, the 18 of Kyle Surratt will line up alongside car number 38, Derek Fisher, out of position number 4. Position 5 going to be the 44 of Donald Swanson. Out of position 6, the 238 of Anthony Marvuglio. At a position 7, the 41 Logan Rumsey lines up alongside the 112 of Devin Morgan, and Logan Reel in car number 9 will start position number 9. 10 short laps here at the Chili Bowl. Next, going to be an exciting night, a 100-lap main event to round out this Mother's Day shootout.
Yeah, definitely going to be an exciting night there, Brett. I think short laps is going to be the thing to remember this weekend. As like you mentioned, some of these drivers in the 11-second bracket. I mean, this by far the smallest and tightest track that we race on here in iRacing for the dirt guys anyway, and it is pretty intense racing. There's not really time to catch a breath and not really any room for mistakes tonight.
All right, speaking of not making any mistakes right now, Jacob Fields going to lead the field out of turn number 4 to the green flag for the first time this evening. We'll keep an eye on the drivers in that second and third spot. Right now, it's Kyle Surratt who moves into position 2. Jason Conover, who started on the outside of the front row, falls back to position 3 as he looks to continue to work the outside of the racetrack. Going to pick up second spot. Surratt moving back to the inside on Jason Conover. Side by side, Logan Rumsey making his way up to position 4, getting by the 38 car of Derek Fisher. Conover, that's Jason in the number 30, the 55 car. Normally seeing him in the 39 car. In the 55 for tonight, he's making that outside line work right now. Here comes Logan Rumsey, Derek Fisher back up on his inside, and a good 3-car battle right now for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
It's a really difficult task to run the outside here at the Chili Bowl, Brett. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing right now. It's usually through the middle or towards the bottom of this racetrack, but here, and especially something, you know, as large, I say, as a 360 sprint car, it's really difficult to hustle around this racetrack on the outside.
Yeah, it certainly is. These drivers are doing a fantastic job, and of course, already we've completed 6 of the 10 laps. Jacob Fields, who has absolutely been phenomenal so far in qualifying and the opening 7 laps of this heat race, as Logan Rumsey starting to barge his way through on the bottom side of the racetrack, making contact with the 38 car of Derek Fisher. Fisher going to fall back to position 6, but he's going to look back up on the inside, so a lot of beating and banging right now here in the midgets.
That happens a lot of times on this racetrack, man. Like I said, it's such tight, close quarters racing that it is really difficult to make good, smooth, clean passes around this racetrack.
Well, 2 laps to go. Make that 1 lap to go for your race leader, the 007 car. Jacob Fields just continues to roll the bottom side of the racetrack. And just listen to see how much he's off the throttle in the turns. Jacob Fields going to get the job done. Second, going to go to Kyle Surratt. Anthony, make that Jason Conover home in 3rd. 4th is going to be Devin Morgan, Logan Rumsey, Derek Fisher, Anthony Marvuglio, Donald Swanson, and Logan Reel will make up heat race number 1. Heat number 2, let's take a look at your Black Diamond Motorsports starting grid. Heat race number 2 lineup looks like this. Starting on pole in car number 37, it's Aiden Perdue. On his outside in the 00 car, it's going to be Kendall Tucker. Lining up position number 3, car number 24 of Robert Kerstetter. At a position 4, the 10 of Adam Tevez. Lining up position number 5, the 68 of Darren Littoral. Brian Powell in the 66 will start position 6. We go back to position 7, Colby Baker in car number 86. At a position 8 was going to be Stephen McMillan. I think he's on race control duties tonight with Matt Sandberg in car number 90 to make up this 8-car field. Heat race number 2, another 10 laps. The distance here, again, these laps with, you know, you're talking 11-second brackets here. We're not looking at too many minutes for these heat races, Nick.
No, absolutely not, Brett. It's like we said earlier, you know, this track is the shortest that we race on, and it's really going to take some concentration and quick thinking for these drivers to make the best moves possible as we watch heat race number 2 get ready to take the green flag. We should see 10 real quick laps here, ladies and gentlemen. Top 2 going to go straight to the main event this evening. Pace truck should be pulling away any second now, as we look like we're going to take one more caution flag lap here, Brett, and then we'll turn them loose for 10 green flag laps here in heat race number 2.
Yeah, pretty good front row too, I must say. Aiden Perdue and Kendall Tucker, Robert Kerstetter and Adam Tevez as well in row 2. Here we go, green flag set to fly off for turn number 4. Green flag is out. Aiden Perdue has got the start on Kendall Tucker. We'll see what Kendall Tucker can do here on the opening lap. We'll see if we can get back by the number 37 car, but Aiden Perdue leads down to the bottom side of the racetrack. Tucker down low, Robert Kerstetter as well. Battle on for 4th, 5th and 6th right now. So watching Colby Baker in the 86 car working right through the middle of the racetrack. He's got Adam Tevez and Darren Little behind him as well.
A lot of close quarters racing going on in the back of the pack, but meanwhile, your leader up front as we're working on lap number 2, Aiden Perdue out front, ripping the lip through 3 and 4. Kendall Tucker there, strong second spot. I tell you what, anytime you see Tucker take the racetrack, Brett, he's going to be one to keep your eyes on for sure.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he's running a slider line into 3 and 4. You see Aiden Perdue still running the top side of the racetrack. 3rd place to 24, the Tony Stewart Racing Camp of Robert Kerstetter. Just catches the infield there, and that's going to lose a spot. He's going to go lose a spot to Colby Baker. Colby Baker now into position 3 as Brian Powell makes a mistake on the inside.
You know, Brett, once you make that mistake on the bottom of this racetrack and you grab the infield berm there, it really upsets the race car, especially if you're already in working through the middle of the corner. You really upset the balance of the race car, and it just kills the momentum for a lap or 2.
And it takes you, as you said, a couple of laps to get back going again, and once you lose that, yeah, you talk about 2 laps. Yeah, 10 laps is not a long time around here, so you know you spend those next couple of laps trying to gain your momentum back up again. By that time, if the person in front of you hasn't made a mistake, well, they're at least going to put a couple of tenths on you. And as a small racetrack like this, a couple of tenths is a long time.
Absolutely, and you see your leader, Perdue, there already working into some lap traffic as it looks like Matt Sandberg going to go down a lap here, Brett. We've got 1 to go in heat race number 2. I tell you what, Perdue looks strong and consistent, nice and smooth around this racetrack out front.
Yeah, going to get the checkered flag right now out of turn number 4. Aiden Perdue with the win. Kendall Tucker second. 3rd is going to be Colby Baker. Yes, he will get 3rd from Robert Kerstetter. Adam Tevez 5th. Darren Little, Brian Power, and Matt Sandberg make up your 8 cars in heat race number 2. We'll move on to the 3rd and final heat race of the night, and already rolling through very, very quickly on the program. We'll take a look at your Black Diamond Motorsports starting grid. Starting on pole, the final heat race of the night. On pole in car number 12, it's going to be Trey Schmidt. On his outside in the 71 car, it's Cody Batten. Brian Cross in the 78 will line up better position 3. The 25 of Blake Cannon will start position 4. Position 5 going to be the 54 of Mitch Stiles. Matt Bailey in the 1 will start position 6. Steve Kaufman in car 5 will start position 7. And at position 8, the 26 of Mason Hannigan. Nick, anyone that catches your eye in this one?
Definitely Trey Schmidt, and I only say that because I've had experience of watching Trey drive real-life races down here in Texas, or over here in Texas, I guess I should say. And Trey is always towards the front of any field that he's in, has a lot of wins here with one of our 305 groups here in Southeast Texas, so definitely going to want to keep my eyes on the 12, on the 112, or the 12, excuse me, of Trey Schmidt.
Well, I've seen a video of a video going around of Trey when he got a non-wing victory. He fell off the top of the roll cage. It's I have a feeling you might know what I'm talking about right there.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about there, Brett. He won, I believe it was the Kent Lewis Classic at Gator Motorplex, which unfortunately is now closed as we take the green flag here in heat race number 3. But yeah, Trey did a little post-race celebration there in victory lane, took to the top of the car, and unfortunately for Trey, ooh, we got a big pile up over in turn number 3, it looks like. But yeah, unfortunately for Trey, it ended up with him falling face first into victory lane.
Yeah, that, I actually seen that video, I think about a week or 2 weeks in. I think it was one of the most hilarious videos that I've ever seen. So, look, he won't be able to do any wing dances in the virtual side of things, but, I mean, he can always kind of do somewhat of a chair dance, I guess, if he got the victory.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't fall over on him.
we'll have to ask him about that one. Well, yellow flag going to come out, of course. We've just seen a bit of a pile up in turns 3 and 4, of course. Racing Control throwing the yellow flag just to get the track clear. I tell you what, another guy to keep an eye on is his teammate here in that FRM, the Front Row Motorsports number 71 car. Cody Batten nearly picked up a feature win in the Fly-By Night Midget Series about 4 days ago. Last Thursday night it was. He got to the front. Unfortunately, Nelson Webster, who was just happened to be a little bit better at Limeland, picked him off in the last final laps. But, man, it was an absolute entertaining battle. So keep an eye on the 71 of Cody Batten.
I think, Brett, these midgets are probably some of my favorite cars to watch here in the service as we get ready to go back green flag racing here. And it's just because the lead can change so quickly. The race can change so quickly, especially on these small racetracks that we watch here like at the Chili Bowl.
Yes, they are. Look, they are an absolute blast to watch. They're a bit of a handful to drive. I'm not sure if you've ever tried to drive one or not, but, man, they are an absolute handful to drive. I take my hat off to these guys that are able to, you know, to wheel and deal these things. And that's exactly what Trey Smith's doing right now, leading his teammate Cody Batten. They sit 1 and 2. Blake Cannon in the 25 will sit in position 3. Then you go back to Mason Hannigan. And then Steve Kaufman, of course. 5 cars left in this one. We've lost Matt Bailey, Mitch Stiles, and Brian Cross in heat race number 3.
Yeah, most definitely a tip of the hat to these drivers is, like you said, these things are absolutely a handful. I think that's putting it politely. There is nothing certain except action when you get midgets on the racetrack. You're just kind of along for the ride. You do the best you can. Trey Schmidt right now putting on a clinic, though, out in front by 0.6 of a second. And like you said, with an 11.7 second lap, that's a pretty significant lead here as Schmidt going to get the win in the third and final heat race. Batten going to be second, and Blake Cannon going to cross the line in the third spot.
And then we'll go back to Hannigan, Kaufman, Stiles, Cross, and Bailey make up the 8 cars for heat race number 3. We'll move on to our preliminary main. And, you know, if this is a race you don't want to be in, this is one of those races where you certainly don't want to be starting near the back. That's for sure, Nick.
Yeah, we've got, looks like our B main here is just basically another heat race. 10 laps. Like you said, if you're starting, you know, 3 or 4 rows back even, I know, of course, the top 12 are going to transfer to the feature, but if you're racing for starting position, you got 10 laps. You got to do things quick, fast, and in a hurry, Brett. And it's like you said, you don't want to be starting too far towards the back in this one.
All right, we'll take a look at your Black Diamond Motorsports starting grid very, very quickly.
Let's see here. On the inside of that front row, looks like it's going to be the 55 of Jason Conover. To his outside, the 86 will be Colby Baker. Looks like we're waiting for Blake Cannon there to be on the inside of that second row. There's Blake in the 25 machine. The 112 to the outside of the second row is going to be Devin Morgan. Robert Kerstetter and Mason Hannigan make up row number 3. Looks like Logan Rumsey and Adam Tevez make up row number 4. Steve Kaufman, Derek Fisher, row number 5. Darren Littrell and Brian Cross, row number 6. Anthony Marvuglio and Brian Powell make up row number 7. Matt Bailey, Donald Swanson, row number 8. And Matt Sandberg and Mitch Stiles, row number 9. Brett, it's going to get crowded in a hurry here with 18 cars on this tiny little racetrack. 10 laps is not a long time, but it's still going to get real tight real fast.
There's going to be a lot of contact going into turn number 1 and 2. That's going to be a hot tip for the night, I reckon. Especially, you know, when you got guys that are going to be mid-pack, they're going to be guys, you know, looking for those, you know, top 10 spots in tonight's main event, top 11, I should say. And already they go 3 wide through turn number 1 and 2, wasting no time right now. As look at the 112 car up and in, upside down at 360. He's going to go upside down. And I tell you what, this can be saving grace for the drivers inside of the top 11. If these yellows keep coming out with the, you know, with the contact and stuff like that, it's certainly going to take away a few of the laps under green flag conditions. That's for sure, Nick.
Absolutely, Brett. You know, I would have expected to see some contact, maybe like you said, 12th or 13th spot, trying to get into those transfer positions. But that was the battle for third on the racetrack. The contact there between Colby Baker and Devin Morgan. I tell you what, the driver coming up with a short end of that stick for sure is Devin Morgan, because we've got 6 drivers here that aren't going to make it out of this race. It's going to be to the trailer, so to speak, for them.
Yep, they're going to have to go up the ramp, and then they're going to have to watch the main event from their haulers, or from the comfort of their own home, I guess you could say, is waiting for the pace truck to pull to the infield, which it will do this time by. So again, these caution laps, they're very, very short here at the Chili Bowl. So we'll try and keep an eye out on your Wicked Cushion instant replays throughout the night. The National Oval Racing Association representative tonight, Jason Conover, leads the field, but here comes Blake Cannon in the 25 car, working to the inside, side by side for the race lead. Blake Cannon going to take the lead. Conover going to look back to the outside into turn number 1 and 2. You battle on for the lead, but Cannon, he's still going to hang on. Oh, contact going into 3.
Oh, that was some rough contact there, Brett. Absolutely. But the 06 Motorsports number 25 looking like they're going to hang on to it. That is Blake Cannon. We do get another yellow. I believe it's going to be for the 54 of Mitch Stiles there. You see Stiles getting it pointed back in the right direction. But yeah, that battle up front was absolutely intense, Brett. Good racing there on the bottom of the racetrack. And, I mean, you've got to be prepared here at this racetrack at the Chili Bowl for contact to happen. You just have to be, especially tonight. We're looking at a 100-lap feature on this racetrack. It's gonna happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
And how many times it's gonna happen. Like, let's be honest. I mean,
yeah.
You're gonna put 20 cars. Like, at the moment, we've got 18 in this speed main. You add another 2 cars, but instead of 10 laps, you add an extra 0 to that, and you've got 100 laps around the Chili Bowl. It's gonna be a wild night, I reckon.
Yes, sir. Absolutely 100% correct. It is going to be pretty intense and pretty crazy racing. I don't know what to expect other than carnage, I think, is what we're going to see tonight. As we go back green here in the B main, we've got, looks like 9 laps complete, so we should be getting the checkered flag this time by, Brett.
Yeah, and Blake Cannon going to come out of turn number 4 victorious here. Keep an eye throughout the rest of the field. There's some good side-by-side battles right now. 11th spot is going to be Brian Power, I believe. He's going to be the final car to make the show. In fact, he might even be Derek Fisher. My results are kind of screwing up a little bit, but that is your B main complete. We know Blake Cannon picks up the win, and I believe we're going to have a dash up next. So our top 2 from the 3 heat races are going to make their way onto the racetrack, and we'll have a 6-lap dash, and of course that'll set up the top 6 starting positions. And well, going off qualifying and going off the couple of heat races that we've seen, man, Jacob Fields, who starts on pole, he's got to be hot on favourite to start this main event from the pole position.
And I think that, speaking of the dash that's about to roll out here, this is one of my favorite things about working with World of Thunder. I've had the privilege of calling some of those Wednesday night modified races, and I love that there's a dash involved. I think it gives the drivers something extra to work towards. They get a little extra chance to maybe improve upon a heat race finish, or just because you don't win your heat race doesn't mean you can't start on the pole. I absolutely love this thing that Stephen McNillan and the WOT guys do.
Yeah, well, they're going up against the guys from the National Oval Racing Association. Of course, on a Tuesday night, we cover their Midget Series one week, and then we cover their Modified Series the next week. Instead of a dash, these guys do a pole shuffle as well. And again, that makes them their own bit of uniqueness as well. So, 6 laps on the board for tonight's dash. Winner will start on pole, and of course, Jacob Fields will lead the field down into turn number 1 and 2. And already look at Trey Schmidt working to the outside. Trey Schmidt going to pick up position number 3. Keep an eye on the 37 of Aiden Perdue on the inside. Contact with Fields. And Aiden Perdue now goes to the race lead.
I tell you what, that was a heck of a move down there on the bottom by Perdue. He knew he had the better line. He knew he had the faster car. He just saw the hole and kind of filled it up with that number 37 machine. A good run from the SimWorks sponsored number 37 machine.
Now the SimWorks Performance 37 of Aiden Perdue out in front. Jacob Fields running in that second spot. Look at Cody Batten and Trey Schmidt up on the top side of the racetrack. Schmidt cuts it down low on Kendall Tucker into turn number 1, but slides it up to the top of the racetrack. So Schmidt and Batten both work on the outside. And let me tell you, these two, they've certainly turned a fair number of laps around here, and they're no afraid to getting up on top of the cushion and right up near the wall. And look at Batten now, going to dive down low on Schmidt.
That's the kind of racing we're talking about, Brett, as the checker flag comes out here for the dash. So it'll be Purdue and Schmidt on the front row, according to... Nope, that's not correct. I'm sorry about that. It should be Purdue and Fields on the front row of the 100-lap main event here. But that's the kind of racing we're talking about as we take the checker flag here and park them on the backstretch. The lead can change so many times in a lap, and one thing I love about this racetrack, Brett, and you may have noticed this as well through your many races here in iRacing that you've broadcast, but this track, more than any, I think, and it may just be because it's so short, typically has two racing lines. The bottom can work, the top can work, all race long. And with the laps being so short, if somebody can set up a good dry slick race car and make it work through the middle, it's going to be some good three-wide racing tonight.
You can even bring in a fourth line, and the slider line. Obviously, they start low into turns 1 and 3. By the time they're out of turns 2 or 4 and coming down the straightaways, they're right up near the wall. I've seen that several times, and of course, each racetrack is different, but when it comes to really setting up a minimum of 2 different lines here, I dare say that Chili Bowl has to be one of those tracks where, the track will really change very, very quickly.
Oh, it definitely does. Even so, I think you're right. Even more so than some of the other tracks that we see in the service, the Chili Bowl can change drastically, and it can change very, very quickly, like you said. And I think that you'll be able to tell the drivers who have a lot of laps at this racetrack because it is one where, and we mentioned this earlier, if you make a mistake, if you jump the berm on the bottom, or if you tag the wall on the top, it's going to take a lap or two to get that rhythm back and start hitting those marks again. And in a race tonight where we're going to have 20 or 22 cars start the race tonight, and we're going to have them on this racetrack for 100 laps, you're not going to have time to really make that mistake and then try to bounce back in 3 or 4 laps, because caution laps are going to count, I do believe. So that's even going to take away more. If a yellow does come out, by the time the green comes back out, we've lost 5 laps.
It's one of those things that that I believe that iRacing are working on. The caution lap's not counting, and when it comes, it's certainly going to change the game up just a little bit. And I don't mean the game as in iRacing in general, but I'm talking about how much fuel drivers get to run, because
yes,
people thinking about 100 laps around Chili Bowl with yellows counting. They're thinking, well, I might see at least 5 yellows in this 100 laps. They can account for those not 5 yellows. That generally takes away 15 laps. So I mean, then you put enough fuel in for say 85 laps, you might have a slight advantage. And especially with how light these cars are, every little bit helps.
Absolutely, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't, that may be new to the world of iRacing, don't really take into account how much those little adjustments can make a difference in your car. That's something that, I learned when I was first starting this, and I'm not a good driver in any car by any means, but that's reaching out to guys like David Heilman after working with some of the VLR stuff and hosting some sprint car races, back in the winter. That's when I really got serious about learning what different adjustments do to these cars, and that's really the key. It's just small adjustments, making small little adjustments to the setup, and fuel being the biggest one, I think, with the weight, like you said, especially with these cars that are so light. A gallon or two is going to make all the difference, I think.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you talk about adjustments on the racetrack when you're out there rolling around for 100 laps. There's only a few adjustments you can make, and that's the shocks of these race cars. And well, if you get the shocks right, if you get your car set up very early on, you get yourself in good stead to really make a run and a chance to be in contention in the latter part of the race as well.
That's very true, and we talk about this a lot with some of these 100-lap races. I haven't seen one with midgets, but you see them a lot with some of the late models and maybe even the modifieds and the stock cars for sure. But that's something that you approach those long races differently, and I think this track is going to present a unique situation. We do have 100 laps, but each one is going to be, I think right now, Aiden Purdue, his best lap in this practice session is an 11.72. 1:32. So even though the track is slick and it's slower than it was earlier this evening, it's still a very short lap, and even though there are 100 of them, you still can't pace yourself like you would on an Eldora or on a USA. You can't do that tonight.
Think about it this way. I think early on, the times where I think Aiden hit in practice, in the initial practice, when the track was fresh and stuff like that and had a lot of moisture in it, I think he was doing 10.2s, maybe 10.1s. You're now talking at 11.7, so you're talking at least a second and a half slower. We've seen, I think, 15 minutes of practice. We've seen 3 heat races being made. So essentially, we've put, like 50 laps minimum on this racetrack per driver. So, I mean, 1.5 seconds, as I said, it's a long way, and especially around what we're doing now, 11 seconds, 11 second times.
Yeah, that is a huge difference, and I think at a point, the racetrack, when it reaches that 100% mark, it's not going to change much more after that. That's maybe the advantage that some of these guys have if they know about how slick the racetrack is going to be. If you can predict when it's going to reach its slickest point, and you know how these tracks wear, you can maybe approach that a little bit differently as well. That's one thing I think we have an advantage on versus real life racing. These tracks are a little more predictable than something that you'd see on your regular Friday or Saturday night dirt track.
All right, let's move away from the track talk and how slick it's going to get, because already the track is very slick for all these drivers, and that's why they've got just under 90 seconds left in this practice, or this warm-up session I should say, before we let them loose for 100 laps. We'll go prediction. 100 laps, who's going to come out victorious in this one? I mean, it's anybody's ball game right now.
I think it is anybody's ball game, but I think that Aiden Purdue obviously going to have probably, I don't want to say the best shot because things are going to change really quickly, but from what I've seen on the racetrack tonight, he's the most aggressive driver, and sometimes I think on a race like this, when you have to just go, you can't really pace yourself. I think some of that aggression is going to pay off, so I'm going to go ahead and play the safe bet card and pick Purdue from the front row.
I'm going to go someone now. I'm going to go Trey Schmidt. I'm going to see if he can pull off a chair dance, and hopefully he can stay on the chair this time.
That was going to be, that would probably have been my second pick. So, again, I say that because I've seen Trey in real life down here in Texas do some really good sprint car racing. He's very capable behind the wheel of that 12 machine, and it's really impressive to see someone with that kind of crossover success.
Well, we are less than 10 seconds away from the World of Thunder versus National Oval Racing Association, the Mother's Day Shootout, the Midgets, here at the Chili Bowl, the main event, 100 laps around this fine facility here on the RAC.com service right here on Ultimate Dirt TV. Of course, Brett Wheeler and Nick Robbins in the booth for your call for tonight's 100-lap main event. As the checkered flag gets thrown, we'll now take a look at your Black Diamond Motorsports starting grid. Like we are going to have 18 cars in tonight's main event. Starting on pole will be the number 37 car. That's going to be Aiden Purdue. We know Jacob Fields will line up out of position at number 2. Position 3 going to be the 12 car of Trey Schmidt. Out of position 4, I'm just trying to think who finished 4th in this one, whether it was Kyle Surratt or whether it was Cody Batten. In fact, it might have been Kendall Tucker.
I think it was Kendall in 4th there in the dash.
Yeah, Kendall Tucker going to line up position 4. Row 3 going to be Cody Batten and Kyle Surratt. Position 7, the number 25 of Blake Cannon. Out of position 8, car number 55 of Jason Conover. Position 9, inside row 5, the 86 of Colby Baker on his outside. In the 10 car, out of position 10, it's Adam Tevez. We go back to the 11th starting spot. The 26 of Mason Hannigan lines up alongside the 24 of Robert Kerstetter out of position number 12. Out of position 13, the 41 of Logan Rumsey. Out of position 14, the 78 of Brian Cross. Darren Little and Derek Fisher will make up row 8. Row number 9, the final row, the 66 of Brian Powell and Anthony Marvuglio in the 238. Again, we're going to have 100 laps around the Chili Bowl. The first 10 laps are going to get the drivers from the dash into their correct starting positions. Once they do that, being at a track like the Chili Bowl, of course, the width not all that great when rolling around. Of course, these cars are hard to handle under power, full power, let alone underpowered. It's going to make a little difference. So instead of going 4 wide, we're going to go with the 3 wide salute.
Yeah, like you said there, Brett, this track definitely one of the more narrow ones we get to race on here in iRacing. So, yeah, 4 wide, probably not going to be the best of options. You don't want to, have any impacts while we're doing that formation setup. So we're going to get these guys 3 wide here and show their support to you, the race fans watching us this evening.
And, of course, a big happy Mother's Day to all. This is the Mother's Day Shootout. World of Thunder drivers up against the National Oval Racing Association drivers. And you can always make a case for, some of the fly-by-night, the FBN Midgets series, the fly-by-night guys, the likes of Cody Batten and Trey Schmidt as well making an appearance here. Of course, Aiden Perdue in that SimWorks Performance pretty much runs the ARDC Sim Series. Well, doesn't run it, but he races in the ARDC Sim Series along, with a few other drivers. And drivers not only from, the midget world or the speed car world, but I look at the likes of, Kendall Tucker, Jacob Fields, more body-styled cars, like the super late models, all these UMP modifieds. They do very, very well in these midget races.
Yeah, it's really impressive to see the drivers, like you just mentioned, talking about Kendall Tucker there and some of the other drivers who do a lot more fender car racing. It's really impressive because these cars drive very, very differently, and it takes a lot of laps to be good in any single class of car, let alone multiple classes.
Yes, the drivers are rolling around 3 wide here at the Chili Bowl, and we see some cars making some contact with each other. Said these cars are very difficult to keep straight and narrow, underpowered as they are, and I don't think 4 wide would have been any better. So these drivers are going to go 3 wide as their salute to the fans. As thanking you for tuning in here to Ultimate Dirt TV and watching. So, of course, well, they might not be able to hear it, but of course you can always bang your hands together or hit the thumbs up on the video. We hope you enjoy what is about to come. Here in a couple of laps' time, the Mother's Day Shootout, the World of Thunder versus the National Oval Racing Association, the Midgets, here at the Chili Bowl as they break formation. Nick, the intensity, it starts to build right now.
Man, this race is going to be absolutely insane. We've got 100 laps coming at you, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be wild, Brett. Like I said, the only thing I'm certain that's going to happen is a little bit of chaos and a little bit of carnage. It's going to be really impressive to watch these drivers hustle around this tiny little racetrack for 100 laps. I think the craziest part to me is the intensity that you just mentioned, because it takes so much focus and concentration to keep these cars underneath you, let alone off the guy next to you. So my hat's off again to these drivers that have made it. You've got 18 of the best dirt midget racers in iRacing coming at you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, just want to say happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I called mine this afternoon, and it was a pleasure to talk to her and wish her well on her special day. I hope that everybody's having a great one out there. Brett, we're getting ready to go here. Looks like we've got maybe 2 more laps before we drop the green.
Yeah, not this time, but the following time buying. The green flag will drop here on the Mother's Day Shootout. 100 laps here at the Chili Bowl. And, well, the SimWorks Performance number 37 of Aiden Perdue has command of the field. He'll have control of when the race will start, as we're going to go green flag racing this time by 100 laps around the Chili Bowl. Again, the World of Thunder versus the National Oval Racing Association Mother's Day Shootout. 100 laps on the board. Getting set to go green off of turn number 4. Green flag is out for the first of 100 laps around the Chili Bowl. And of course, Aiden Perdue, of course, wasting no time to put a couple of car lengths between himself and Jacob Fields. Look at Cody Batten go straight to the top side on the opening lap, looking to get by the double O car of Kendall Tucker. Tucker looks to slide up, nearly contact. There is contact as well. That's Kyle Surratt now in third. A lot of the drive, what we're going to see, a lot of these drivers catching that infield berm as well.
Yeah, Surratt making a move of opportunity there, Brett. Saw the contact between Cody Batten and Kendall Tucker on the top side as we've got the 25 machine around. That's Blake Cannon, and we're going to wad him up there behind him, Brett. We'll get our first caution of the race. But like I was saying, it's really impressive to watch guys like that move from Kyle Surratt there. He saw the contact between your top 2 car, or I believe that was Cody Batten there and Kendall Tucker getting together on the top side, and Kyle Surratt just saw an opportunity, took it, picked up a 2-for-1 deal over there.
And again, that's something that drivers gonna have to watch, not only watch where they're running on the racetrack. There's a lot to watch, especially at a tight racetrack like this. You've got to drive for yourself, but you've also got to drive for the other people around you as well, because you've got to predict what they're going to do. If you see the contact coming up, you've then got to quickly, and you've got very minimal time to adjust your line going into the next corner, and hopefully that you don't make contact with those drivers that are making contact as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's very difficult to do, I think, in these race cars, and it may just be that I'm not very good in them, but they don't like to change racing lines very quickly. Once the car takes a set, as we see the drivers sling them down here into turn number 1, they're wheel-to-wheel off of turn 2, as they're completely sideways through the corners here, Brett. It's real difficult to get them to change direction on a dime like that.
Right now, just looking at Trey Schmidt in the number 12 car, he looks a little tight right now. The car doesn't look all that well, but of course, as the race goes on, that car may just come to him right now. So if you're terrible early on, that's obviously going to set you up for the long haul in the latter part of the race. Cody Batten now trying to hold off Kendall Tucker on the top side into turn number 1 and 2. Fields, Perdue, and Surratt wake up 1, 2, and 3. And Fields, in fact, has gotten by Perdue very, very quickly. And, well, he's starting to clear away from the number 37 car. So, I mean, we kind of forgot about Fields in the choice of picking these drivers. He was super quick in the opening part of qualifying in his heat race earlier on.
Yeah, Jacob Fields is looking real impressive there, Brett. Before the yellow coming out, had almost a 9/10 of a second advantage over Aiden Perdue. And I tell you what, we were, or at least I was really expecting Perdue to kind of walk away and leave him here on the beginning the way he got off on that initial start. But Fields making real quick work of that 37 machine. And like you said, starting to walk the dog on him just a little bit there.
Fastest lap times so far. The fastest car on the racetrack in this feature event, Jacob Fields, at 12:088. Again, that's 0.3 slower than what we've seen in the practice and the lap times according to the dash as well. So that warm-up session that they had after the dash and before the start of that main event, again, they've slowed the track down even more. And you just look at how slick this racetrack is from top to bottom. There isn't a whole lot of moisture anywhere left on this track to to really find on the track.
No, Brett, there really isn't. We have, I would say we're pretty close to that 100% track wear mark. As you see him take the green flag one more time off at turn number 4, it is black from top to bottom here as we see Fields lead him one more time down the back chute into turn number 3. These very tight corners here at the Chili Bowl in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are rolling through turns 1 and 2 again, almost a quarter of the way through this race, Brett. We're going to complete lap number 25, all right? Here, we are 1/4 of the way through this race.
Yeah, keeping an eye on Cody Batten as well, and that FRM number 71. He's the only driver inside probably the top 7 cars that is actually working the top side. As he went down low, Surratt's got a horrible push. Here goes Kendall Tucker. He's going to get 2 for 1 as well. Surratt, he's going to lose 3 positions, nearly 4 positions. Look at Logan Rumsey trying to get on the inside of Trey Schmidt, but there was not enough room. As Surratt now looks back to the top side on Cody Batten. But keep an eye on Kendall Tucker as well. He's running that slider line in 1 and 2.
Another yellow flag coming out. This time it's Jason Conover in the 55, the double nickel there going around representing the NORA, the National Oval Racing Association this evening, bringing out another caution flag for us. But you're right there, Brett. That was a Kyle Surratt. I don't know if he caught the berm there on the bottom and the car just took a wild push, but he did go backwards real quick right there. And that just goes to show that once you make that mistake, there's about 4 other drivers right there waiting to pounce. And you see Surratt pulling into the infield there.
All right, so looking like we've lost 4 cars from our original 18 cars that did schedule or were scheduled to start this 100 lap main event, as the lights on the iRacing.com official poster should turn off this time by. They do. So green flag next time by. Jacob Fields, Aiden Perdue, and Kendall Tucker. Your top 3, Cody Batten and Trey Schmidt, make up positions 4 and 5. Logan Rumsey, Mason Hannigan, Robert Kerstetter, Derek Fitcher, and Blake Cannon. After being turned a couple of cautions ago and about 10 laps ago, he's fought his way back up to position 10. Green flag back out. Jacob Fields, Aiden Perdue, Kendall Tucker, straight to the top side in turn number 1 and 2. Again, look at Logan Rumsey on the inside of Trey Schmidt. Now here's your battle for 4th and 5th into turn number 3 and 4.
Yeah, a nice 2-groove race right there for that 5th spot, excuse me there, Brett, as Trey Schmidt goes top-sided 1 and 2 once again. And it is, let's see, that looks like Mason Hannigan there on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get around. Actually, it's Logan Rumsey there, excuse me, going to pick up that 5th spot. in the 41 machine. A good run there for Rumsey, and Trey Schmidt battling back around to retake that 5th position.
Yeah, that's the 22 car of Mason Hannigan up top around the outside of Logan Rumsey into turn number 1 and 2. Look at Kendall Tucker now all over the back of Aiden Perdue like a rash down into 3 and 4. Perdue going to run up top as well. He runs somewhat of a middle slider line. In fact, he'll run the slider line in 1 and 2. So again, I did say that you know, they almost could run that 4th different line with the slider line being so very, very effective. And that's what Perdue is doing right now. He's not really leaving a lot of room for Tucker, but Tucker, no doubt, he's going to try and force a mistake.
Yeah, that was a really impressive move there by Tucker to get in underneath Perdue there in turns 1 and 2 and not slide directly up into the 37 machine. That's some impressive car control right there out of the 00 machine, as he's still chasing Perdue. But I tell you what, Brett, our leader with a 1.176 second advantage, Jacob Fields, is gone right now.
He's going to be very tough to run down in the latter part of this race. I mean, he's showing why that he's been so dominant so far throughout the night. Of course, with qualifying in the heat race, he got a little bit unfortunate with a contact with Perdue in that dash where, at the end of the day, I mean, it's just hard racing. It's short track racing at its finest. But, I mean, Jacob Fields right now showing his true class on why he's one to beat here in the Chili Bowl in the Midgets.
I'm going back to about 6th spot here, Brett. Robert Kerstetter has worked his way back up through the field here, running in the 6th position right now, trying to run down Trey Schmidt, working the bottom side of the racetrack. One of the few drivers committed to hugging the hub, catfishing down here around the Chili Bowl.
There's a lot of throttle control, I must say, to keep that car down there, a lot of brake as well, and you'd almost wonder what kind of gearing you'd have to have, whether he's got a little bit of a higher gearing just to keep those revs up, considering that he's not on the throttle all that much. But the yellow flag flies for, I think, a 4th time here this evening, as this is going to stack the field back up into single file again. And, well, they all try and catch up to the 007K. He just looks so good. And, again, there's a lot of throttle control, a lot of talent in this field here tonight. You just got to wonder, has anybody got anything for the 007 at this stage?
Well, I mean, we're already approaching the halfway mark here, Brett. I mean, some of these guys have, you know, tried to pace themselves and bide some time. I'm sure that some of these drivers went with maybe a little heavier fuel load than they would have otherwise. Of course, we spoke about that just a moment ago, but I think the time the time for patience is nearing its end here. I mean, these laps are still ticking off pretty quickly. Our best lap hasn't changed. It's a 12.088 second, and I know that's almost 2 seconds slower, about 2 seconds slower than we were, you know, in qualifying and pre-race practice, but that's still a very, very quick lap in the grand scheme of things. As the iRacing pace truck pulls in the infield, Brett, here we're going to get the green flag this time off of turn number 4.
Now Jacob Fields once again going to lead the field. Aiden Perdue just catching a piece of the infield berm on the exit of turn number 4. Doesn't slow him down any bit at the moment as he looks to get a run on the 007 into 3 and 4, and Fields stays down low through the middle on the exit of turn number 4, and all he's going to do enter low and run a little bit of a slider line, but he's just so fast at the moment. He's just so smooth as well, Logan Rumsey around.
I tell you what, Brett, that was an impressive restart to me for Aiden Perdue there. You know, Jacob Fields has been really just checking out on the field almost immediately. Perdue did not let him get away on that one. Had a good run there in the 37 machine and was able to stay real close to that 007 and keep tabs on Jacob Fields. Of course, those two seem to walk away from Kendall Tucker and the rest of the field as we got about 3 or 4 laps in that volley there. But a good restart by Perdue, and I think if he can get another one there, Brett, this might be a good race up front.
I think if you can get to the cushion to where you can, you know, ride that cushion, it's just, of course, you know, you're talking inches away from that cushion, and you make one little mistake up on the top side of the racetrack where the cushion is, because they're so close to that wall. I think it's kind of, you know, risk versus reward factor right now. He's not committing to the entire top side. He's committed to sliding right through the middle as well. Whereas, you know, you see the likes of Field, who's just continually rolling the bottom side of the racetrack.
Yeah, we're going to get the green flag here one more time off of 4, and we'll see what happens down here into turn number 1. You see Jacob Fields go right through the middle this time. I tell you what impresses me the most, I think, Brett, about that 007 is it doesn't really seem to matter where Jacob wants to put that race car. It seems comfortable, it seems planted, and he seems very confident behind the wheel this evening.
Yeah, he's already gone. Look at the distance he's put between himself and Aiden Perdue. Perdue now got pressure from the double O car of Kendall Tucker. Cody Batten back there in fourth. Trey Smith rounds out your top 5. Then you go back to Blake Cannon in the 25, who's made his way back up to the top 5 of this field. He's up to position 6 at the moment, so he's got a chance at a top 5. But as Perdue clears away from Tucker, now here comes Batten to the inside on Kendall Tucker into turn number 1 and 2. Batten running the line that we see Jacob Fields running.
Yeah, it looks like maybe some of the other cars, as you see Aiden Perdue there go to the bottom of turns 1 and 2 that time around. Maybe some of these drivers are seeing the bottom starting to come in a little bit. And, I mean, if the leader's working it and he's fast, it's got to be fast for somebody else.
Yeah, you see, look at the 37 of Aiden Perdue. He was committed to the top side. Now look at the line that he's running. Very, very similar to what your leader is. And you just see, we've had, what, probably 5 or 6 laps since that last yellow. Look at the distance he's pulled. He's pulled over a straightaway lead over Aiden Perdue. Kendall Tucker gone back to the top side along with Cody Batten. But right now, Trey Smith trying to hold on to position 5. He's got Blake Cannon in the 25, working down low. So he's a battle for 5th and 6th at the moment. This is probably the best battle on track at the moment, as here comes Kendall Tucker now catching up to Aiden Perdue.
Yeah, Perdue, I think, has got something going away. The car is getting real loose right through the transition of turns 3 and 4 there. And now you can obviously see Perdue playing defense, but it's not going to be good enough. Tucker going to make the move around the outside for second spot. He's got about 40 laps left to catch the leader, but Jacob Fields with a 2.7 second advantage over Kendall Tucker right now, Brett.
Yeah, Cannon put the slider on Trey Smith. Trey Smith got into the back of Cannon, and that checked up the number 12 car. So we're looking at around 49 laps left now. It is, of course, we added those extra 10 laps to start with. So you'll see 110 on the board. It is still only a 100-lap feature event as Kendall Tucker, he's moved into position 2. And now can he run down Jacob Fields? There is still a lot of time left in this one to happen. But I think with the amount of time and how quickly that number 007 of Jacob Fields has been throughout the opening part or opening half of this feature event, it almost looks like he's going to be untouchable.
Well, here's where it's going to get interesting because Logan Rumsey right now in danger of going down another lap. I think the first 4 were because of a pit stop, but your leader, Jacob Fields, approaching the tail of the field as he comes into turn number 3, and he's going to make quick work of Rumsey there. Good job to Logan for hanging onto that car, getting into the outside wall. I think as lap traffic gets thicker, though, Brett, this is where it's going to get interesting as we are quick. We've got a little over 40 laps left, I believe 45, I think.
You're looking around 45, yeah, somewhere around there. We'll go with it, 45, 44. You're on the money, but I guess a thing that's going to help Jacob Fields is we've already lost, 6 cars out of this 18-car field, so he's only going to have to worry about 10 or 11 more drivers right now. As well, Cody Batten, he's having his own little battle here with the Blake Cannon. Batten going to fall back to position 5, and Blake Cannon on the move in the number 25 car. He's back up to position number 4. He was one of the first cars to go around in our first caution.
Yeah, Cannon was definitely an early caution there. He's actually running about 0.2 faster than Aiden Perdue right now. So the 25 car getting quicker on the racetrack. Still the fastest car on the track is your leader, but not by much. Blake Cannon's last lap of 12.439 is actually on par with the leader right now, Brett. So the 25 machine, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Now Cody Batten running the big slider line into 1 and 2, but oh, Aiden Perdue upside down. That's going to trigger a caution. And he's not going to be able to get back on all fours, so he's going to have to require the virtual hook. And that's going to put the SimWorks Performance number 37 back into pit road. And unfortunately going to be credited with a 12th place finish. And there goes your pick of Aiden Perdue.
Yeah, that was a tough break there for Aiden, getting up just too close to that outside wall. And you're right, I'm out. So I hate to see that happen. Aiden had a good run going, had struggled there the last few laps, but still with a podium finish in pocket, and unfortunately just getting upside down. And like you said, that is going to do it, having to call in the virtual hook, and that'll keep him out for quite some time. He will not be a factor in this race any longer. Let's see, we've got 73 complete, at least overall complete there. So we are almost 3/4 of the way here, and
about 35, 36 laps, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yep. So we got Jacob Fields out in front, and I just don't know. I don't know, Brett, if anybody's going to have anything for him, even with the field bunch back up. Like you said, as we go green, we've lost so many cars that it's kind of an open racetrack at this point. We were afraid it was going to be crowded, and look at the run for Blake Cannon on that restart there, Brett, already challenging Tucker for that second spot.
Well, going off previous, say, 10 to 15 laps, if anyone's going to have a chance at the 007 car, Jacob Fields, it's going to be that 25 of Blake Cannon. Blake Cannon now moves back into position number 2 as Kendall Tucker tries to take back second spot into turn number 3 and 4. So we've got side by side for second and third right now as Blake Cannon in the black and pink number 25 car. Look at Cody Batten trying to throw his hat in the mix. And what about Robert Kirstead as well? Sneaking up into a top 5, but right now it's Kendall Tucker on the outside in the black number low car. And Blake Cannon still side by side for an entire 2 laps.
A really impressive race here for this second spot as Tucker just battles back on the outside lap after lap. And all this is doing is we get another caution flag coming out. All this is doing, Brett, is let Jacob Fields just walk away from the rest of these competitors.
Yeah, you know, Tucker and, you know, Cannon, they want to get to the front as well, but, you know, they've got to compete with each other first. And the question does pose, you know, it's I'm not going to say it's easy enough for Fields right now, but with the way that he's been so dominant, it's certainly not helping anybody else's case in letting the 007 get that far out in front.
No, absolutely not. And like you said, when he's got I mean, he had over a second lead before that last caution just came out. So I can only imagine what it would be, you know, what it would be even if we had no battles going on behind him. I think that even though Blake Cannon is pretty close to the same pace as your leader, Jacob Fields, it still would be difficult for him to run him down even without the battle with Kendall Tucker there.
All right, black to green flag action here. The 80-70 second lap is complete. 28 left to run here in the main event. Cannon down low into second spot. Tucker make that in the 00 car once again. Cannon and Tucker going to go side by side once again. So right now these drivers proving that the top side and bottom side is very, very even right now. And it's all coming back down to the driver ability. But look at Cannon. He's staying with the 007 car of Jacob Fields on the bottom side of the racetrack. And this is what we might want to see for the final 25, 26 laps.
I might have even seen a little bit of a bobble there out of the 007 machine in 1 and 2. It looked like the car not wanting to hold the bottom. You see there again, stepping out just a little bit more than previously seen. And Blake Cannon, that risk versus reward we were talking about earlier. He's back up top shelf here, Brett, really riding that knife's edge around the outside of this racetrack. And look at Tucker now, swapping lines. Maybe the bottom coming around, Brett. I don't know that the top is going to have anything to compete right now.
Just looking at the lap times over the past 3 laps, the difference between Blake Cannon, who went back to the top side, and Jacob Fields has been anywhere from half a tenth to a tenth. That last lap time was nearly 3/10 of a second difference. Right now, with how much that Jacob Fields has gotten out, surely Blake Cannon must be realizing, well, this isn't working. I mean, yeah, it might be holding on to second, but I might need to go back to the bottom side. That's where I picked up second.
Yeah, and the car was really nice and consistent around the bottom of the racetrack. And you see just there as he comes down the front stretch, Cannon rolling that right rear over the cushion and nearly losing the handle on the 25 machine. I think you're right, Brett. Blake's got to realize that the bottom side is the place to be at this point. I mean, your leader, Jacob Fields, already with a 1.5 advantage over the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's absolutely dominating performance right now. 19 laps left to run for your race leader, Jacob Fields. He's led nearly all but every lap of this feature event. I think it might have been the opening couple of laps where, Aiden Perdue led those opening couple, but it's all been Jacob Fields out in front. Blake Cannon again, who's absolutely made a stellar run, was the first car to go around the first caution, went to the back of the field, and he's just avoided and passed a lot of cars to get back up to position number 2. And right now he goes back to, he's staying on the top side. Again, I really think this is hurting, you know, the 25's chance at making a run at your race leader.
Well, you just saw that run there down the backstretch, Brett. I have to agree with you. He jumps the cushion again, as does Cannon this way around. You see him riding up that berm there on the backside of this racetrack, but Cannon really almost 4 wheels over the cushion just a moment ago, and it really upset the race car. He lost a lot of ground again on your race leader, Jacob Fields, almost 2 seconds ahead of second spot right now.
12.469 was 2 laps ago. 12.473. Make that 12.455. So these last couple of laps, he's gained half a tenth on each lap. So that's a tenth. He lost, what, nearly a second and a half for the previous 8 laps. So he's got a lot of work to catch up to get back to the 007 car of Jacob Fields. He's a little bit quicker right now on the top side. So I don't know whether Fields is, I wouldn't say maybe starting to say, but I mean, I guess just, you know, just thinking, well, I've got this far of a lead, I might just take it easy for a little bit longer, knowing that we've only got 11 laps left to run. You know, we're talking about a heat race distance from here on out.
Right, and we're talking about a straightaway advantage still, as we have 10 and a half or so to go. It's a straightaway advantage in a heat race's amount of time, and not only that, but Cannon now has the lap car of Logan Rumsey to deal with, so he's got another obstacle right now in the way of running down this leader, as we are now we're going to have 9 to go this time by.
In fact, that's Brian Powell in the 66 car that that Cannon just went by. Rumsey's already back on pit road, 40 laps ago. So, look, it's easy to make a mistake. Trust me, I make plenty of them, and we're all at the end of the day, we're all human, and well. One man that might not be human right now is Jacob Fields. 8 laps to go. He is just absolutely dominating this field. And I got to say, again, Blake Cannon not going away just yet. He's been, again, he was a 10th quicker, so he is starting to close the gap. It's all going to come back down to how quickly Fields can get by this lap car of Jason Conover.
Yeah, this one might make a difference here, Brett. Oh, we're going to get another yellow flag. It is for Cannon. Oh, no. Oh, no.
You hate to see it.
That was a good run after having to go to the back already, clawing and scratching his way through the rest of the field with less than 10 laps to go. Cannon just hopping the cushion, grabbing the wall down the front straightaway. And it's like we've said here before, Brett, on this racetrack, you live by the cushion, you die by the cushion, man. It's a real thin line up there.
Yep. As I said, back to risk versus reward factor. And unfortunately, that reward factor was nowhere near where the number 25 needed to be. What that does do is that will put Cody Batten into position number 3. And we are going to have a green-white checker to finish this one out.
This is going to be dramatic. Let's see if Kendall Tucker can keep track here with Jacob Fields. If I know Tucker, it might be a little bit aggressive, but Kendall's going to go for the win. He didn't come here to run second. He's got his best shot, I think, right now to get it done here, Brett.
All right, green-white checker incoming, the Mother's Day Shootout. The World of Thunder guys take on the National Oval Racing Association. We are down to the final 2 laps here in the 100-lap shootout at the Chili Bowl. Cody Batten dove down low to the inside in 1 and 2 on Kendall Tucker into 3 and 4. They both run the slider line, but it is going to be Jacob Fields who gets the white flag, and he is now just 2 turns away from victory lane and taking out the Mother's Day Shootout down to the low side as he's done all 100-lap main event. Jacob Fields going to get the job done, and what such a dominating drive by that 007 car. He almost made it look too easy.
Yeah, once Jacob got out front, Brett, you're exactly right. Nobody really had anything for him. It was all his show. This was a very dominating win here tonight from Jacob Fields. A good race for second, third, all the way through the top 5. We had some good racing, but nobody had anything for your winner tonight.
Now let's take a look at your unofficial JR Productions and Media finishing. Jacob Fields gets the win from Kendall Tucker. Cody Batten rounds out your podium. Robert Kerstetter home in 4th. Derek Fisher comes home in 5th. Trey Schmidt going to come home in 6th. Darren Little in 7th. 8th was Jason Conover. Brian Powell in 9th, with Blake Cannon rounding out your top 10 over the page. We look at Mason Hannigan, Aiden Perdue, Logan Rumsey, Brian Cross, Carl Surratt, Adam Tevez, Colby Baker, and Anthony Marvuglia, who I don't even think started this main event. So 17 cars started. And I think, would we have 8 on the lead lap?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, it's impressive to see, even with, 10 or 12 cars finishing, you've got cars that are a lap down on the racetrack. That just goes to show you how dominant the winner was here this evening in Jacob Fields.
All right, well, we are going to go down to victory lane here in just a few moments' time. I'm going to chat with our top three. In fact, we'll get those drivers in here hopefully. I know we've got first. We don't have first. In fact, we don't have any of them. Actually, I've just been told to take third place interview in Discord. So what I'll do right now is I'll bring him in right now in third place in the 71 tonight. Cody, congratulations, a third place run for you. It was a very tough track conditions, but man, those guys out in front were just super quick.
Yeah, I can't complain. The track conditions were super rough, and you're trying to chase down two of the best in front of me. Obviously, Fields and Tucker are tough to beat, but third place isn't too bad.
What was the game plan going into a 100-lap main event tonight, knowing that you were starting inside the first three rows and 100-lap was was going to go very, very quickly?
Yeah, you knew at the beginning you just had to be patient, obviously, because it's 100 laps. So I just wanted to keep it in one piece through the first quarter of the race, and then try to find some speed towards the middle to end, and had to kind of let anybody wreck out in front of you and just keep it smooth, and came home third, so can't complain.
Well, as I said, can't complain. A third place finish here in the Mother's Day Shootout. You one of the FBN Midget guys. So who were you representing tonight? Was it World of Thunder or NORA?
No, it was definitely NORA. The FBN thing is awesome. It's coming along well, but definitely wanted to represent NORA. Glad we can put it in the top three, running against these guys. So definitely shout out to NORA. It's a great league, so glad I could represent them in this.
Well done on third place. Any sponsors, shout-outs, all that good stuff? Who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, the whole FRM team. We seem like we're getting faster and faster here, building faster setups, and thanks to Trey and Brandon, Bryce, Leighton, everybody that makes this thing go fast. Topside Designs, 92 Designs. Thank you for the awesome broadcast, Steven, for putting all this together, and representing NORA was pretty cool to do in this deal.
All right, well done, Cody, on third place.
Thanks.
All right, Cody Batten, they're home in third place. We'll throw it over to Nick Robbins, who's chatting with our second place finisher here tonight, Kendall Tucker.
Mr. Kendall Tucker, this is Nick Robbins in the press box. Brother, you got a copy?
Sir.
Great job tonight, Kendall, on a second spot finish here in the Mother's Day Shootout. Brett and I were talking a little bit tonight about the distance of this race versus the size of the racetrack. I know I've seen you in some of the the longer 50, 60, even 75 or 100 lap late model events on larger tracks. What is the difference mentally between a 100 lapper in a super late model at Knoxville versus a 100 lapper in a midget here at the Chili Bowl?
I mean, I would think you need to definitely be patient in both. I mean, the spring fling, I was kind of aggressive early. I had to take advantage of top when it was there and make up spots when I can. I knew I had a fast car, but tonight we started more up front, started third, and fell back early. I think to about fifth or sixth. But at that point, I was just trying to stay calm because I knew we had plenty of laps. And on the longer races and the slicker the track is, I seem to do a little better with my drive.
Well, on a racetrack like this, as slick as it is and as close as some of the racing will be because of the size of the racetrack, is it more important for you to make consistent laps, lap after lap, or do you just kind of maybe let the guys in front or around racing harder make their own mistakes? You don't want to make any problems for yourself. Do you just kind of let everybody fall on their own sword, so to speak?
Oh, I mean, I'm really just worried about hitting my marks lap after lap, and I mean, if you can be consistent, I try to keep my laps within at least half a tenth of each other. Just back-to-back laps. I mean, the closer you can get them, the better. Because I mean, if you're just worried about what somebody else is going to do or counting on them to mess up, I mean, it's never going to work out. So really, you just got to worry about your own car, your own driving ability, and keep the car clean, really.
Well, Kendall, I'm hearing, don't you can't wait for the race to come to you. You got to go to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just got to take advantage of every scenario that you have, and just know what to do with it. I mean, starting up front, I know I didn't have to do nothing too crazy. I just had to hit my marks and be smooth and just be there at the end.
Well, a really good run here again. Congratulations, Kendall, on that second spot. Who do you want to thank on the race car? Who makes this happen for you?
Yeah, I gotta say congrats to Jacob. I think he had I think he experimented with a little lower gear than I think the rest of us. So everybody else that tried to run the middle like that, we just had too tall of a gear and was just wheel spinning too much. So so hats off to him for doing that. I mean, he was definitely the class of the field all night. But I gotta thank all my guys at Swindell Speed Lab. James Edens, he really helped out a lot, and really that's about it. Gotta thank NORA and World Thunder for putting this on, and thank you guys for broadcasting.
Absolutely, race fans. There you have it. Second spot, Kendall Tucker. I believe Brett has our race winner over in Discord.
Yes, I do. I'm chatting with your race winner, and it was just such a dominating performance. Jacob Fields just, man, absolutely talk about walking the dog here tonight. Congratulations on the victory. How you feeling?
Oh, feeling good. I always like running at this track, and I made a ridiculous gear change on it to see how it would work, and it it worked pretty well.
What is it about this track that just made you so dominating here tonight? You just, from qualifying to your heat race, that kind of didn't go your way, but you had to start on the outside of the front row, but once you got to the lead, I mean, it was pretty much, you know, all yourself. There was just no real competition.
Yeah, I was hoping I knew if I was behind him for too long, I'd end up making a mistake at some point. So, but once I got out front, I kind of just got comfortable and settled in. I mean, we had a few cautions, but it really wasn't too bad. It's just an awesome track to run. I've always liked the short tracks.
I noticed you didn't go up top very little at all throughout that feature event. You know, you kept it down at the bottom and through the middle. Was that the game plan going into, you know, the 100-lap main event here tonight?
Oh, definitely. I knew I'd end up for sure choking if I went up to the top, so I figured I'd just see what I could do on the bottom and try to save all I could. I wasn't sure on fuel either. It was kind of nerve-wracking there until 10 laps to go.
Well, speaking of those final few laps, I mean, you know, you talk about a green-white checker to finish this one off. You had Blake Cannon closing in, you know, fast in those last sort of 10 laps, but he ended up going upside down. What was going through your mind on that final restart, knowing that, you know, you were 2 short laps away from victory here in the Mother's Day Shootout?
Yeah, I saw that caution, and it definitely wasn't what I wanted to see. Blake's always fast in almost everything he drives, so I knew if he got a look under me, he'd probably end up getting me, but luckily I was able to hold it off and get the win.
Well, that you did. You did get the win here in the Mother's Day Shootout, so congratulations on the victory here, 100 laps at the Chili Bowl. It was dominating from start to finish from when you started the night off, so congratulations. Any sponsors, shout-outs? Who do you need to thank that gets the job done on this 007 machine?
As always, I got to thank the guys at Elite 7. Wouldn't be here without those guys. True Form Race Products, Dirt Tracking, MSR Mafia, Five Knuckle Wraps, and Water Truck Productions. And got to thank you for putting on the broadcast. It's always fun to go back and watch. And thanks, Steve and the guys, for putting on the show.
All right, there we go. That was Jacob Fields home in first place. Nick, it's done. It's been run and done. 100 laps, the Mother's Day Shootout here at the Chili Bowl in the Midgets, or the Speedcars we call them over here in Australia. Doesn't matter. I don't go by, call them by whatever you like, whatever tickles your fancy. Final thoughts from yourself here before we wrap this one up.
I'm just really impressed with the, of course, with the winner there. That was a really good run, and just really impressed with some of the car control that I saw around the bottom of this racetrack. You know, good 2 lanes racing all night long. We saw some good 3-wide racing there for a moment earlier in the evening, but really just overall impressed with the quality of racing and the consistency of some of the driving we saw tonight. Had a blast. My hat's off again to all the drivers that race in this thing. You're all better than me, win, lose, or draw. So good job tonight to everybody involved.
Well, I'll back you up on that one. I'll second that one, that they're better than me as well. So, hey, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me here in the Ultimate Dirt TV booth. It's been a pleasure having you along, and hopefully we get to work with you with some more throughout the rest of the year.
Absolutely, Brett. I had a blast. Once again, thanks to Stephen McMillan for putting this race on, and thanks to you for having me in the box here with you tonight.
Well, that'll wrap us up here from the Chili Bowl for the Mother's Day Shootout. The World of Thunder, the guys took on the National Oval Racing Association. It was Jacob Fields who comes away victorious from Kendall Tuck with Cody Batten in third. On behalf of the team here at Ultimate Dirt TV, the entire management behind the scenes, on behalf of Nick Robbins and myself, Brett Wheeler, we sign off, say good night, happy Mother's Day once again, and we'll see you next time here on Ultimate Dirt TV.